Hello and welcome everyone. Today I'm going to show you how to make this happy birthday animation. It's an example of using the blinking or flashing technique that I discussed in my basic actions you can animate video. Alright, let's get to that tutorial, but first a quick intro for those of you who are new here. Hello, I'm Shannon, owner of Shrush Design. I specialize in hand-lettered and illustrated designs for things like signage, murals, invitations and other stationery, digital graphics, and more. Here on YouTube, I make tutorials of how to do these projects, my methods, the tools I use, and the software I use on a regular basis. For anyone who may be interested, I now also have a free companion course to go along with these videos here on YouTube, where you can get access to additional notes, any digital downloads you may need, extra practice, and the direction of where to go once you master the tutorial. You can find that link down in the description, or just go to my website, www.shrushdesign.com, and look for the online courses section. Okay, let's get on with the tutorial. Alright, so as with most animations, I'm going to use the square size canvas again, so plus sign on the gallery and hit the square. And if you don't have that, just make one that's 2048 by 2048 pixels and an RGB color profile. Alright, so we are animating Happy Birthday today, and we're going to do a lot of flashing and blinking and appearing, disappearing to illustrate that point. So, first of all, if you want to follow this project exactly as it is, you're going to want to go to my companion course that I mentioned in the intro. You can find that in the description below, or you can go to my website, www.shrushdesign.com, and go to the online courses section, and it should be the first thing that pops up on that page. And again, it's completely free, so if you want to follow along exactly, I have the project file for you. All this stuff will be on there. You don't have to draw anything. That way you're just going to animate. Now, if you want to do it yourself and you want to do something similar to what I have, I used actually a font for the happy part, so I added text. If you want more explanation of how to do that, I have a video about adding text. It's Procreate for Beginners text, and I'll link that down below as well, or you can find it on my channel. But I used the impact font, and then I made it bigger, and then I increased the tracking or the kerning if you have the whole thing highlighted, so that there's a little bit of space in between the letters, because otherwise it was all squished in. So that's what I did for that, and then I hand lettered the birthday part. So you can try to do that if you want. Otherwise, you know, you can use the same font for birthday if you want, or you can use a different font for birthday if you want, whatever you want to do. Otherwise, again, I have that project file available for download for you for free. Just sign up for the course. So that's our starting point here. As with most animations, you kind of start out with everything on the screen and then start taking stuff away. But it's not always the case, but in this case it is. So that's what we're doing here. Now I also have a color palette for you to use. Again, you can download this, or I can show you the values of all the colors. So this is that first blue color. This is the hexadecimal. And then the yellow, purple, blue, darker blue, green, reddish orange, and then like a fuchsia color. So that's all the values there. So you may want to screenshot all of that now. So the first thing I'm going to do is change my background color to that blue. And we're just using a very simple background, so I'm just going to use the background that's built in here. Now I also have center guides here on the project file that you're going to get. You can also use the drawing guide to get that, edit the drawing guide, and then max it out. You can't see it right now. Max it out all the way. I have the other guides on, so you can't really see, but it shows exactly the same as that. But I'm not using that drawing guide, so I'm going to turn that off, and then I'm going to turn this one off too because I'm done with it. But that's just to help center your words if you want, or if you're making your own, if you don't like the way mine looks or whatever, even if you use the project file. So now I want to add some more colors to the rest of the lettering as well, and we can start animated. So again, you can use whatever colors you want. This is what I have in my palette. This goes in order, so the way I have it at least. Yellow, purple, blue, green, reddish orange. All right, now for that last one, you need to go to the birthday layer. Make sure you're on that one. And go fuchsia. All right, so now we're all colored in. Now again, this is it's going to be a very simple animation. I'm not doing anything super complicated. This is beginner level. Could do all kinds of more things with this, and if you want to, you're welcome to. So again, this is going to be a very simple animation that we're doing. Going to be flashing the letters and the words on the screen and making our own little happy birthday message for anyone that you want. So with this animation, especially because it's a flashing or blinking one, we're going to actually be erasing things from the final version here to make them come up on their own, you know? So that's the general way we're going to do things. So I'm going to turn on Animation Assist. Now, right now, all we have is the happy and birthday. So you could do this if you wanted to, just happy and birthday. But we're going to do a little more. We're going to have these flash up on their own, these letters and happy, and have everything kind of come together. So what we want to do is we're not doing anything with the background foreground in this one. We just have a solid background color for our background, which I just did there. So you don't have to worry about any of that in this animation. But what we're going to do, we want each of these letters to come up on their own. So we're going to start with the H, and then HA, and then HAP, and then HAPP, and HAPPY. Now, thinking also, we probably want a blank one to start with. So we don't want it to start out with the H. We want that to blink up on its own. So we want a blank frame before this. So I'm going to add a frame, and then always adds it to the right here, or if you're looking in your layers menu, it will add it on top, but we want it in front here. So you got to drag it over, hold and drag, or you can do that here as well. You can drag it up, drag it down, I mean. So now it's going to start with that blank slate there, and then we want the H to come up next. So only the H. We're going to make a copy, duplicate this. And you can do that here as well. Again, you know how to duplicate layers, over left and duplicate. But we want to always make sure we have a copy that has that happy in it. We don't want to erase that because then we lost it forever. So we want to keep a copy of that. All right, so this first one after the blank one, so the second one in succession here, or we don't have this guides if you're using it. You can even delete this at this point. You're not going to need it for the rest of the animation probably. But I just want to make sure it doesn't show up in here because it's not turned on here. Otherwise it would. We don't want it turned on. But it's going to be, if you have this guides thing, it's going to be the third one up from the background, or the fourth one up altogether. But, you know, looking down here, that second one in succession here right after that blank one. So we want that to be just H. So what we're going to do, first I'm going to turn on one onion skin. You probably have this at max already if you just turned it on. I've been playing around with this a little bit before I started filming, so I want only one onion skin for myself. That's what I do. So I'll show you what I mean by that. You'll see what I mean with the onion skin in a minute, but I'm going to go to my eraser, and I'm going to erase everything but the H. So because the onion skin is on, you can still see those letters as they're being erased, but that's because it's showing you the next frame, because this has the entire happy on it right there. So it's showing you that. But it is only on this frame. You can see there's only an H, and if you look at this, there's only an H. That's what's on that frame. So now for the next one, we want to duplicate, make sure we have a duplicate. Go here to the one that's next after the H. We want HA, and then we're going to erase the PPY. And then make sure we have a duplicate. Go back to the one before, the first duplicate there, and get rid of the PY. Duplicate, go back, get rid of the Y. All right, now we have a version of happy on there all together. So I'll show you what this looks like. Right now, we're not using birthday. I'm gonna turn that off right now just to not confuse you. So I'll show you what this looks like. And we did it this way because it's a word and you don't want everything to blink up individually. You could do it that way and then have everything blink up at the same time later. But so again, we have these letters coming up individually, but we have the one beforehand staying up. Because this is a word and you're reading it, you want it to be like that. But you could just have everything blink up individually if you wanted, depending on what you're doing. But because this is a word, I thought this would be best in order to read it. So that's what we're doing there. Now what I want to do next is have happy blink up on its own. So in order to do that, we need a blank frame again. So we're going to add a frame. Now that's in the right spot. We can leave that where it is as long as you were on the last, this one with happy on it. You can add a frame from there and it'll be in the right spot. Otherwise, make sure it's at the end. But I want to go back to the happy here and I want to duplicate this. And now I want to move this one to the right. So it's the last one. And then the next thing I want to do, I'm going to turn birthday back on. By the way, you could, have these letters come up individually. You'd have to erase parts of the lettering as you're going. That's a little more complicated. We'll do something like that later because that's something I do often with my animations. But I'm not teaching that right now. But I'm just having birthday come up all together because otherwise you'd have to wait for H-A-P-P-Y and B-I-R-T-H-D-A-Y to come up. And it's a little long, so we're not going to do that. But the next thing I want to happen, so if we go through this again, it's H-A-P-P-Y. Oh, that says happy. Okay, blink happy. And then we want happy birthday to come up, all of it together. So going back in here now, what I want to do is keep a copy of this birthday. So I'm going to duplicate that. And then I'm just going to turn it off and just leave it on top there. It's not part of the animation, but just in case I need it again for something, I'm leaving it alone. And then I want to make a duplicate of the happy as well. And then I just want to group these two together, this birthday that's turned on and the happy. So I'm going to highlight one of them and I'm going to drag the other one to the right. And you see it highlights it again, just in a darker color. Now you can group them together. So now that group is going to be its own frame because you can do either layers or groups of layers as your frames. So now we could flatten this too if we wanted to. It's up to you. And then it would be one layer, but I'm just going to leave it in a group. Again, I don't need all kinds of layers for here, so it's okay. I can do that. So just to show you what we have for now, go through H-A-P-P-Y, and then happy, and then happy birthday. So what I want to do here is add another flash of happy birthday. So I'm going to add a frame that's going to be blank again. And then I'm going to take that one that has both happy and birthday on it, that group. I'm going to duplicate that, move that to the right. So now, if we play through this, that's how it goes. Happy birthday. Now, if you notice at the end there, it doesn't stay up very long because it's kind of hard to read, especially if someone can't see very well or they're not paying attention all the way. It would be easier if you make this stay on for longer at the end here so they can see what it's supposed to say. So you can do the whole duration that I talked about. and depends on how many you want it to hold for. I would say 2 or 3 is probably good. Let's see what that looks like. So we start at the top again. It might be a little long. I might do 2 instead. I think that's pretty good. And again, to be more complicated, you could add like balloons or confetti or whatever like going on as well. I'm not going to do that this time. This is a very simple one, but we could do something like that in the future that's a little more complicated. But right now, this is just showing you the blinking and flashing and reappearing, appearing, disappearing, reappearing type of animation in a practical way. So feel free to use however you make this animation. Feel free to use it, you know, with your friends, family, anyone you want to say happy birthday to. To export this again, you can go into your actions menu, share, and use any of these animated options down here. I went over that in my intro video. You'll want to take a look at that if you are unfamiliar with how to do that. But that's how you can export it and then upload it to, you know, Facebook, Instagram, or send it to someone in email, whatever you want to do as a message for happy birthday. But that is how that would look. All right, everyone, that's it for this video. But heads up, I've still got some bonus footage and sneak peeks coming up shortly. First of all, though, I want to thank you, yes, you, for watching this video. I do really appreciate it. If you appreciate me back, the best way to show me is to use those buttons on YouTube. Subscribe is the best one, but the other ones work great too. Always check the video description for any updates, announcements, and any relevant links you may need. These are my official social media accounts and other channels for you to check out. Don't fall for any scams or imitations. All of these are linked in the description and also on my website, www.shrushdesign.com as well. Now here's that bonus footage I promised. For the bonus footage, I'm just showing you here how I made the file that we started with in the beginning of the video. Again, I added text for happy, and then I increased the size, and then I also increased the tracking or the kerning, having the whole text of happy highlighted so that there was more space in between the letters. And then I used the monoline brush in the calligraphy category to write the word birthday. And then I experimented with the colors I was going to use for the project. And for the sneak peeks, so originally I was going to put out my final video in the Procreate for Beginners series, that miscellaneous video, but I had some problems during the recording of that, so I'm going to be redoing it. I think that video will be next after this one now. That video is the one where I'm going to go over the gallery when you first open Procreate and the actions menu a little more thoroughly, and then mention anything I forgot to mention in all of the other beginner videos. Coming up in the animation series that I'm currently doing, we're going to be looking at the 2D motion techniques next. So that's the horizontal motion, vertical motion, and diagonal motion. And further out, we're going to be looking at all of these actions from the basic actions you can animate video. Plus, as I mentioned in my last video, Procreate is announcing a new update in September. And I don't know what that will be yet or when the update will be available, but I assume I'm going to have some new features I need to teach, as well as I may need to make some updated versions of the videos I've already made in case things really change with the interface. So that will all be coming up soon. I don't know exactly when that update is coming up, like I said, but I will have more information about that as soon as I know. I also have some non-Procreate related content coming up soon. But for now, I'll see you in the next video.